ኦኬ ወደ ተማሪዎች እንኳን ወደ አሊ ሳይንስ ዩቲዩብ ቻናል በሰላም መጣችሁ። ዛሬም አዲሱ ካሪኩለም ባዮሎጂ የ11ኛ ክፍል ላይ ከምዕራፍ 6 100 የፈተና ጥያቄዎች ከነማርሳቸው እንደዛውም ከነማግለጫቸው ስለ ህዝብና ተፈጥሮ ሀብት ላይ ቱቶሪያል በአማርክ ይዤ ቀርባለሁ። So our tutorials on new curriculum biology grade 11 unit 6 100 exam question with answer and also with explanation on population and natural resource. So don't forget ይህንን ቪዲዮ የምታዩበት ጊዜ መርሳት የሌለባችሁ ነገር ምንድነው VPN ወይ ደግሞ ሲፎን ከፍታችሁ ማቱ እንዳትረሱ። ምክንያቱም VPN ወይ ደግሞ ሲፎን ከፍታችሁ ካያችሁ ጥሩ ኳሊቲ ያለው በረም ጥርት ተብሎ የሚታይ ቪዲዮ ስለምታገኙ VPN ከፍታችሁ እንድታዩ በአክብሮት ጠይቃችኋለሁ። እንደዛው አሊ ሳይንስ ዩቲዩብ ቻናል ይህንን ቪዲዮ ላይክ በማድረግ አሊ ሳይንስ ዩቲዩብ ቻናል ሰብስክራይብ ያላደረጋችሁ አሁኑኑ ሰብስክራይብ በማድረግ አሊ ሳይንስ ዩቲዩብ ቤተሰብ ሁኑ። ላይክ ሰብስክራይብ ካደረጋችሁ እኔ የምለቁት ነገር ቶሎ እናንተ ጋር ስለሚደርስ ላይክ ሰብስክራይብ በማድረግ እኔ የምለቁት ነገር ቶሎ እናንተ ጋር እንደሚደርስ አድርጉ። ላይክ ሰብስክራይብ ካደረጋችሁ ማንኛውም ሰው ሳይ ቶሎ እናንተ ጋር ስለሚደርስ እኔ የለቀኩት ነገር ቶሎ በፍጥነት እናንተ ጋር ስለሚደርስ ሰብስክራይብ ላይክ ሰብስክራይብ ማድረጉ እንዳትረሱ። So let us start our tutorial on unit 6 100 exam question with answer and also with explanation on population and natural resource. Instruction: choose the best answer for the question from the given alternative. ለተሰጣችሁ ጥያቄዎች ከምርጫችሁ ውስጥ ትክክለኛውን በመምረጥ መልሱላል። So let us start. Question number 1. Which branch of biology studies the interaction and changes affecting population? ከባዮሎጂ ብራንቾች ውስጥ ስለ ኦርጋኒዝሞች የፖፑሌሽን ህዝብ ከኦርጋኒዝሞች ከአካባቢዎች ጋር ኢንተራክሽን የሚያደርጉና እነሱ የሚገዱትን ነገሮች የሚያጠና የባዮሎጂ ብራንች የተሆነላል። So that should be a population ecology. Means that population ecology study how population interact with the environment and changes that affect the distribution and abundance of population in the environment. Question number 2. Which of the following consists of individuals of the same species that interact and interbreed within a specific area? ከመከተሉት ውስጥ ተመሳሳይ የሆኑ ዝርያዎችን ኮንሲስት የሚያደርግና እንደዛው አብሮ የሚኖሩ አንድ ቦታ የሚኖሩ ስፔሺሶችን የሚገልጽ እና እነሱ ደግሞ ልራቡ የሚችሉ the same species ሲሆኑ የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be C, population. Means that a population consists of individuals of the same species that interbreed and share habitat. Question number 3. Which level of ecological organization include all the others level on Earth? ከሚከተሉት ecological level organization ውስጥ ሌሎችን የሚያካትት ወይ ሌሎችን በውስጡ የሚያቅፍ የትኛው ሌቨል ነው ይላል። So that should be C, biosphere. Means that the biosphere encompasses all ecosystem and living organisms across the planet. Means that the level of ecological organization from the smallest to largest includes individuals, organisms, population, community, ecosystem, biome, and the biosphere. Question number 4. Which method is best suited for estimating the population of immobile organisms like plant in ecosystem? Ecosystem ውስጥ population ስንቆጥር የማይንቀሳቀሱ እንደ እጽዋቶች የሆኑ ኦርጋኒዝሞችን ለማቆጠር የምንጠቀመው ሜተድ የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be B, quadrat sampling. Means that the quadrat method involves sampling a known area, making it ideal for studying immobile organisms like plants. Question number 5. Which of the following is refers to the number of individuals per unit area? ከሚከተሉት እያንዳንዱ ኦርጋኒዝም በእነሱ በያዙት ኤሪያ per unit area የሚያጠናው የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be D, population density. Means that population density refers to the number of individuals per unit area. Question number 6. What is the impact of population growth on living condition? ህዝብ የሚያድግ ከሆነ ብዛት የሚበዛ ከሆነ living condition ላይ የሚያመጣው ተጽዕኖ ምንድነው ይላል። So that should be B, increased competition for resource. Means that population grows leads to increased competition for limited resource affecting living condition. Question number 7. Why are quadrats placed randomly throughout the habitat? Habitat ውስጥ በኳድራት ሳምፕሊንግ ስንወስድ ለምን ከተለያየ ቦታ ሳምፕል እንወስዳለን ይላል። So that should be A, to ensure the number of reflects overall habitat. Means that the quadrat placed randomly throughout the habitat that at several locations to make sure that the recorded numbers are representative for the overall habitat. Question number 8. Which of the following method is commonly used to estimate the population size of mobile organisms? ከሚከተሉት ሜተዶች ውስጥ የሚንቀሳቀሱ ኦርጋኒዝሞችን ለማጥናት ወይ ለማቆጠር የምንጠቀመው ሜተድ የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be the mark recapture method. Means that the mark recapture method is commonly used to estimate the population size of mobile organisms. It involves marking individuals, releasing them, and recapturing the sample to estimate population size. Question number 9. If the study finds 50 organisms in 10 square meters, what is the estimated population density of the habitat? አንድ ኤሪያ ውስጥ 50 ኦርጋኒዝሞች 10 ስኩዌር ሜትር ውስጥ ካገኘ ነው ፖፑሌሽን ዴንሲቲው ስንት ይሆናል ይላል። ስለዚህ ፖፑሌሽን ዴንሲቲው ያገኘነው ኦርጋኒዝሞች በያዙት ቦታ እናካፍላለን። ስለዚህ ስናካፍል 5 ሜትር ስኩዌር እናገኛለን ማለት ነው። means that population density is the number of individuals within a specific area or volume. Therefore, population size divided by the total land area. So, using the formula, density is equal to number of organisms divided to the area. We can get 50 divided to 10, 5 organisms per square meter. Question number 10. Which of the following is not factor that affect accuracy of the population estimating using quadrat method? By quadrat method, estimate population ስንጠቀም affect የሚያደርግ የትኛው ነው? So that should be D, the color of organisms being studied. Means that the color of organisms being studied not factor of affecting accuracy of population estimating quadrat method. Question number 11. What is a disadvantage of quadrat method when estimating population size in diverse ecosystem? ሰፊ የሆነ ኢኮሲስተም ውስጥ ኳድራት ሜተድ ስንጠቀም ዲስአድቫንቴጁ ምንድነው? ፖፑሌሽን ሳይዝን ኤስቲሜት ስናደርግ ይላል። So that should be limited representation. Means that quadrat sampling may not fully represent large or highly diverse habitat, lead to inaccurate estimates. Question number 12. How does human activity such as urbanization alter species distribution and survival in population ecology? የሰው ልጅ አክቲቪቲዎች እንደ urbanization ወይ ከተማ ማስፋት species distribution እና survival population ecology ውስጥ እንዴት ይጎዳል ይላል። So that should be the habitat destruction. Means that urbanization leads to habitat destruction, reducing biodiversity and forcing species to adapt or relocate. Question number 30. What is the first step in mark recapture method? Mark recapture method ውስጥ የመጀመሪያው step የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be C, capture and mark the sample of animals. Means that researcher first capture a sample of animals and mark them before releasing back to into the environment. Question number 40. Which statistical measures are used in population ecology? Population ecology ውስጥ የምንጠቀመው statistical measure የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be the demographic parameters. Means that demographic parameters help scientists to analyze population trends, including birth rate, death rate, and life expectancy. Question number 50. How does genetic variation contribute to population survival and it is more suitable in large population? Genetic variation በጣም ሰፊ የሆኑ ብዙ የሆኑ ኦርጋኒዝሞች ውስጥ እንዴት ኮንትሪቢዩት አስተዋጽኦ ያደርጋል ፖፑሌሽን ሰርቫይቭ እንዲያደርጉ ይላል። So that should be A, better adaptation. Means that genetic variation is more easily sustained in large population, allowing better adaptation to the environmental changes. Question number 60. The maximum number of individuals that environment can sustain is called. Environment support ማድረግ የሚችል አቅም የሚችል የከፍተኛ የኦርጋኒዝም ወይ ደግሞ የኢንዲቪጁዋል ቁጥር ምን ተብሎ ይጠራል ይላል። So that should be C, carry capacity. Means that carry capacity is the maximum number of individuals that an environment can sustain. Question number 70. Which one of the following statements is correctly defined conservation? ከሚከተሉት statements ውስጥ conservation በደንብ የገለጸው የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be B, the sustainable use of natural resources. Means that conservation involves the sustainable use and protection of natural resources. Question number 80. What is the population size if 90 birds are marked and 160 birds are captured in second and the sample 40 of them are marked in the second sample? So what is population size? ስለዚህ ይህንን ለማስራት ማርክ ሪካፕቸር ሜተድ ተጠቅመን ነው የምንሰራው ማለት ነው። ማርክ ሪካፕቸር ሜተድ ተጠቅመን ሲሰራ 360 እናገኛለን ማለት ነው። So that should be A. means that ስለዚህ ፎርሙላ ስንጠቀም population size in mark recapture method is equal to the sample that we capture at first time times the second capturing, all the second capturing divided to when the second capturing that is are marked in the first. So 90 times 160 divided by 40 we get 360. Question number 90. Which type of population growth model occurs when population grows at a constant rate without any limiting factor? ከፖፑሌሽን ግሮዝ አይነቶች ውስጥ ፖፑሌሽን ወይ ህዝቦቹ የሚያድጉ ምንም ሊሚቲንግ ፋክተር ሳይኖር ዝም ብሎ ቀጥ ብሎ ወደ ላይ የሚያድጉ ከሆነ ይሄ ፖፑሌሽን ግሮዝ ሞዴል ምን አይነት ነው ይላል። So that should be A, exponential growth. Means that exponential growth occurs when population grow at a constant rate without any limiting factor. Question number 20. What happened to population growth when carry capacity is reached in a logistic growth model? But logistic growth model ውስጥ carry capacity ሲደርስ population growth ምን ይሆናል ይላል። So that should be D, population growth slows and stabilize. Means that in logistic growth model population growth is limited by carry capacity. Means that as resources become scarce or limited, growth slows and stabilize around the maximum sustainable population size. Question number 21. Which of the following is a density independent factor that can regulate population size? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ population independent factor ሆኖ population size density independent factor ሆኖ population size regulate ሊያደርግ የሚችል የትኛው ነው ይላል። So that should be C, a severe drought. Means that a density independent factor are abiotic or non-living factor like droughts affecting population regardless of their size, reducing the number of individuals through or environmental change rather than interaction among organisms. Question number 22. Which of the following involves conducting census on the fixed date, usually a full moon night, assuming all households are present at their residence? ከሚከተሉት ህዝብ ቆጠራ ዘዴዎች ውስጥ ጊዜ ቀኑ ፊክስድ ሆኖ የህዝብ ቆጠራ አንድ ማታ ወይ አንድ ወር ሙሉ ማታ ማታ የሚካሄድ የህዝብ ቆጠራ አይነት ምን ተብሎ ይጠራል ይላል። So that should be A, de facto method of census. Means that a de facto method involves conducting the census on a fixed date, usually full moon night, assuming all households are present at their residence. Question number 23. What is the Jure method of census? The Jure method of የህዝብ ቆጠራ the Jure method የሚባለው ምንድን ነው ይላል። So that should be D, a method where enumerators visit household over a period of weeks. Means that a de jure method involves collecting information over 2 or 3 weeks, focusing on permanent residents. ስለዚህ ዲፋክቶ ሜተድ ማታ ህዝቡ ወደ ቤት ሲመለስ የሚቆጠራ የሚካሄድ ሲሆን ዲጁር የምንለው ደግሞ ቀን ለሁለት ሳምንት ወደ ለሶስት ሳምንት መንግስቱ ጊዜን አውጆ ቋሚ ነዋሪዎች ብቻ የሚቆጠሩ የሚቆጠር ሜተድ ነው ማለት ነው። Question number 24. What is the key difference between exponential and the logistic growth model? Logistic population growth. ዋነኛው የኤክስፖኔንሻል እና ሎጂስቲክ ፖፑሌሽን ግሮዝ ሞዴል ዋነኛው ዲፈረንሳቸው ምንድነው ይላል። so that should be C. Exponential growth occurs without limit while logistic growth include limit. Means that exponential growth assumes unlimited resource, whereas logistic growth incorporates environmental limit like carry capacity. Question number 25. Which dispersal pattern describe individual spaced more evenly in a population? ከዲስፐርሳል ፓተርኖች ውስጥ ኢንዲቪጁዋል ወይ እያንዳንዱ ኦርጋኒዝሞች አንድ የሚኖሩበት ቦታ ላይ ዩኒፎርምሊ ዲስፐርድ ሆነው የሚገኙ ወይ ስፔስድ ሞር ተመሳሳይ ሆነው ዲስፐርስ ሆነው የሚኖሩ ወይ የሚገልጸው የትኛው ዲስፐርሽን አይነት ነው ይላል። so that should be C. Uniform dispersions. Means that uniform dispersion occurs when individuals are evenly dispersed due to territorial behavior or resource competition. Question number 26. Which type of species dispersal pattern represent following the figure C represent? C in the picture item C ላይ ያለው figure ከፖፑሌሽን ስፔሻል ዲስፐርሳል ፓተርን ውስጥ የቱን ሪፕሬዘንት ያደርጋል ይላል። so that should be A. Clumped dispersion. Means that C represented clumped dispersion that common to species like food and water are unevenly distributed when social behavior is encouraged grouping. And also figures A represent uniform dispersion and figure B represent random dispersions. Question number 27. Which dispersal pattern provides latest predictable distribution of individual in a population? ከዲስፐርሳል ፓተርንስ ውስጥ ሊስት ፕሬዲክተብል ያለው ዲስትሪቢዩሽን የትኛው ፖፑሌሽን ዲስፐርሽን ነው ይላል። so that should be B. Random dispersion. Means that random dispersion occurs when individuals are spread and predictably often due to environmental condition or chance event. Question number 28. Which of the following can increase population density? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ population density ሊጨምር የሚችል የትኛው ነው ይላል። so that should be A. Birth and immigration. Means that birth and immigration add individual to population and increasing density of population, whereas death and immigration remove individuals from population and decreasing population density. Question number 29. What is the main advantage of the Jure method of concessions? The Jure method ጥቅሙ ዋነኛው ጥቅሙ ምንድነው ይላል። so that should be B. It provide detailed data collection over time. Means that the Jure method allow detailed data for collection of longer time. ስለዚህ ይሄ the Jure method advantage ነው። የዲፋክቶ ሜተድ አድቫንቴጅ ደግሞ snapshot of population on a specific date ለማስራት ነው ማለት ነው። question number 30. What is the census in study human population? ህዝብ ቆጠራ ማለት ምን ማለት ነው ይላል። so that should be B. A systematic collection of all unit information. Means that a census is a systematic collection of information from all unit or individual in a population on selected demographic and socio-economic data about the population to analyze trends. Question number 31. Which type of survivorship curve is characterized by high survival rate in early and middle life, followed by sharp declining in older age? ከሰርቫይቨርሺፕ ካርቭ አይነቶች ውስጥ ሰርቫይቫል ሬቱ ሃይ ኤርሊ ላይ እና እንደዛው ሚድል ላይፍ ላይ ከፍተኛ ሆነው ግን ኦልደር ኤጅ ላይ በጣም ዲክላይኒንግ ሞት የሚበዛው የትኛው ሰርቫይቨርሺፕ ካርቭ አይነት ውስጥ ነው ይላል። so that should be A. Type 1. Means that type 1 survivorship curve are typical for of humans and most mammals where mortality is low in early and middle years and increase significantly in older individuals. Question number 32. Which of the following is an example of density-dependent factor regulating population growth? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ density dependent factor ምሳሌ ሆነው population growth regulate የሚያደርግ የትኛው ነው ላል? So that should be depredation. Means that density dependent factors such as predation are influenced by population density. Higher prey density can lead to increased predator activity affecting population growth. Question number 33. Which of the following refers to how individuals are distributed in space at specific time? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ እያንዳንዱ ኦርጋኒዝም ያለው ቦታ ላይ ዲስትሪቢዩት ሆኖ ለስፔሲፊክ ጊዜ ቦታ ላይ ዲስትሪቢዩት ሆኖ የሚገልጸው የትኛው ነው ላል? So that should be the population dispersal. Means that population dispersal refers to how individuals are distributed in space at a specific time. Question number 34. What does letter R represent in population growth equation? ይህንን equation population growth equation ውስጥ letter R ምን represent ታደርጋለች ይላል? So that should be C, per capita rate. Means that letter R in population growth equations represent per capita rate of increasing, which is rate at which population grows per individuals. Means that when R is greater than 0, population increasing, where R is less than 0, population size is decreasing, and where R is equal to 0, population size is remain unchanged, means that indicating 0 population growth. Question number 35. Which type of survivorship curve is characterized by constant mortality rate throughout the lifespan? ከሰርቫይቨርሺፕ ካርቭ አይነቶች ውስጥ ኮንስታንት ሞርታሊቲ ወይ ሞት በቋሚነት የሚኖር ላይፍ ስፓን ህይወታቸው ውስጥ ሞት ኮንስታንትሊ የሚኖር ከሆነ ይሄ ምን አይነት ሰርቫይቨርሺፕ ካርቭ አይነት ነው ላል? So that should be B, type 2. Means that type 2 survivorship curve seen in some birds species show a relative constant mortality rate at all stages of life. Question number 36. What is an example of specific type of typical follow the type 3 survivorship curve? Survivorship curve type 3 represent የሚያደርገው ከሚከተሉት የትኛው species ነው ይላል? So that should be C, Ocatris. Means that species with type 3 survivorship curve reproduce large number of offspring with little parental care, leading to high mortality rate in early life. Many plants, invertebrates, and fish follow this pattern, or type 3 survivorship curve. Question number 37. What shape does graph of exponential growth and logistic growth produce respectively? በቅደም ተከተል exponential growth እና logistic growth produce የሚያደርጉ ምን አይነት ሼፕ ግራፍ ነው ይላል? So that should be A, J-shaped and S-shaped curve respectively. Means that exponential growth produce J-shaped curve, whereas logistic growth produce S-shaped curve. Question number 38. Which demographic pattern refers to the movement of individuals into an area to take up permanent residence? ከዲሞግራፊክ ፓራሜትር ውስጥ ህዝብ ወደ አንድ ቦታ የሚመጣ ከሆነ ወደ አንድ ኤሪያ የሚገባ ከሆነ ለቋምነት ለማኖር ይሄ ምን ይባላል? So that should be B, immigration. Means that the immigration is the process of individuals moving into a region to permanently settle, contributing to population changes. Question number 39. Which type of population pyramid is characterized by broad base and a narrow top? ከፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ ውስጥ ስሩ ሰፊ ሆኖ ቶፑ በጣም ናሮ ከሆነ ይሄ ምን አይነት ነው ይላል? So that should be A, expansive pyramid. Means that expansive pyramid show young and rapidly growing population with high fertility rate, and it is characterized by broad base and a narrow top. Question number 40. Which type of population pyramid is typically developed country with low birth rate and high quality life have? ያደጉ ሀገራት ያላቸው በጣም የሚወለዱ ልጆች ትንሽ ሆነው እንደዛውም ያላቸው ላይፍ ኤክስፔክታንሲ በጣም ከፍተኛ ከሆነ ይሄ ምን አይነት ፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ ይኖራቸዋል ይላል። so that should be C stationary pyramid. Means that stationary pyramid represent population with balanced age group, stable and not growing, common in developed nation with low birth rate and high quality rates. Question number 41. What is the main difference between expansive and constrictive population pyramid? ዋነኛው የኤክስፓንሲቭ እና ኮንስትሪክቲቭ ፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ ልዩነታቸው ምንድነው ይላል። so that should be B. Expansive pyramid represent young and growing population while constrictive pyramid represent elderly and shrinking population. Means that expansive pyramid reflect high birth rate and young population, whereas constrictive pyramid indicate an aging population with declining birth rate. Question number 42. How does migration affect population growth? Migration population growth እንዴት ሊጎዳ ይችላል? so that should be D. Immigration increase population size and immigration decrease it. Means that migration impacts population growth by altering the number of individuals in a region through immigration increase population size while immigration decrease it. Question number 43. Which demographic measure indicating the average lifespan of individual in a population under current mortality condition? ከሚከተሉት የዴሞግራፊክ ሜጀር ውስጥ average lifespan of individuals population under mortality constant condition የሚገልጽ የትኛው ይላል? so that should be C. Life expectancy. Means that life expectancy is a demographic measure indicating the average lifespan of individuals in population under current mortality condition. Question number 44. Which of the following is a graphical representation of age sex structure of population? የህዝብ ጾታና እንደዛውም ኢድሜን ሪፕሬዘንት የሚያደርጉ ግራፊካሊ ሪፕሬዘንት የምናደርግበት የትኛው ይላል? የትኛው ነው ይላል? so that should be A. Population pyramid. Means that a population pyramid is a graphical representation the age sex structure of a population. Question number 45. What type of population pyramid describe populations that are elderly, shrinking and represent developed nation? ከሚከተሉት የፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ ውስጥ ፖፑሌሽን ኤልደርሊ የሚበዛና ሽሪንኪንግ እና ዴቨሎፕድ ኔሽን የሚከተሉት የትኛው ይላል? so that should be B. Constrictive pyramid. Means that developed nation typically have constrictive pyramid represent population that are elderly, shrinking. Question number 46. What does a large base in population pyramid represent? Population pyramid ውስጥ ስሩ በጣም ሰፊ መሆኑ ምን ይገልጻል ይላል? so that should be A. Population with high fertility rate and low life expectancy. Means that a large base in population pyramid indicate young and growing population with high fertility rate and low life expectancy. Question number 47. What is the consistency between the population pyramid of Ethiopia in 1984 and 2017? የኢትዮጵያ ፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ የ1984 እና የ2017 መካከል ያለው ተመሳሳይነታቸው ምንድነው ይላል? so that should be B. The base remain broad and indicating young population. Means that Ethiopia population pyramid in both 1984 and 2017 show broad base reflecting young population with high fertility rate. Question number 48. What type of population pyramid of typically for developing country like Ethiopia? ያደጉ ያሉ አገራት እንደ ኢትዮጵያ አገራት ያላቸው ፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ ምን አይነት ነው ይላል? so that should be A. Expansive pyramid. Means that developing country like Ethiopia typically have an expansive pyramid characterized by a broad base and young population. Question number 49. What type of population pyramid is typically country like Italy, Kenya and the United States have in 2000 50 respectively በ2015 ያደጉ እዚህ ላይ ያለው ሀገራት ፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ ያላቸው ምን አይነት ነው ላል ለኢታሊ ኬንያ እና ዩናይትድ ስቴትስ በ2015 ቀደም ተከተለ ያላቸው ፖፑሌሽን ፒራሚድ ምን አይነት ነው ላል so that should be the stationary pyramid Italy Kenya expansive and the United States constrictive pyramid means that countries like Italy Kenya and the United States have a stationary expansive pyramid and the constructive pyramid in 2050 respectively ይሄ ማለት ኢታሊ ስቴሽነሪ ነው ነበራት በ2015 ኬንያ ኤክስፓንሲቭ ነው ዩናይትድ ስቴትስ ደግሞ constructive pyramid ነበራት ማለት ነው question number 50 which of the following represent the number of individuals living at each age interval versus time ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ እያንዳንዱ የኦርጋኒዝም የሚኖርበት ጊዜ እና እድሜውን versus የሚገልጸው የትኛው ነው ላል so that should be C survivorship curve means that a survivorship curve represent a number of individuals surviving at each age interval versus time question number 51 what happened to population growth when density dependent factor increase density dependent factor የሚጨምር ከሆነ population growth ምን ይሆናል ይላል so that should be B growth rate decreases means that density dependent factor like competition and disease reduce the population growth rate as population density increase question number 52 what is the key benefit of integrating trees and shrubs into agricultural landscape a practice commonly seen in Ethiopia indigenous farming method የኢትዮጵያ indigenous farming method ውስጥ ጿቶቹ ወደ ጫካ ውስጥ ማዘር ወይ ደግሞ እርሻ ማዘር ምን ተብሎ ይጠራል ይላል ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ so that should be A agroforestry means that agroforestry combines tree with crops to improve soil quality provide shade and enhance biodiversity and prevent land degradation question number 53 what is the main difference between density dependent and a density independent factor ዋነኛው ልዩነቱ የdensity dependent እና density independent factor ምንድነው ይላል so that should be C density independent factor affect growth regardless population density means that the density independent factor are abiotic or non-living factor like weather and natural disaster affect population regardless their density while density dependent factor are living factor or biotic factor depend on population density question number 54 what are natural resources ተፈጥሮ ሀብት ማለት ምን ማለት ነው ይላል so that should be B substance or materials available naturally means that natural resources are materials or substance that occur naturally in the environment and are used to support life and meet human needs question number 55 which of the following is an example of a renewable natural resource ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ ተፈጥሮ ሀብትና ራሱን ሊያሳድስ የሚችል ታዳሽ የምንለው ተፈጥሮ ሀብት የሆነው ምሳሌ የሆነው የትኛው ነው ይላል so that should be C solar energy means that solar energy is a renewable resource because it is continuously available and not depleted by human consumption question number 56 what is characteristics of non-renewable natural resource ታዳሽ ያልሆኑ natural ተፈጥሮ ሀብት ባህሪ የሆነው የትኛው ነው ይላል so that should be C they take millions of years to form and replenish means that non-renewable resources are exhaustible like coal and natural gas take millions of years to form and cannot be replenished quickly question number 57 which of the following is an example of non-renewable natural resource ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ ታዳሽ ያልሆነ ተፈጥሮ ሀብት ምሳሌ የሆነው የትኛው ነው ይላል so that should be A fossil fuels means that fossil fuels are non-renewable because they are consumed faster than they can be replenished. Question number 58. Why is conservation of natural resource is important? ተፈጥሮ ሀብት ማንከባከብ ኮንዘርቭ ማድረግ ጥቅሙ ምንድነው ላል so that should be to ensure resources are available for future generation. Means that conservation is crucial to prevent depletion of natural resources and ensure their availability for future generation. Question number 59. Which of the following is renewable resource that can be depleted if overused? ከሚከተሉት ታዳሽ ተፈጥሮ ሀብት በስነ ስርዓት ካልተጠቀምነው ወይ ጥቅሙ በጣም ካበዛነበት overused ካደረግነው የሚጠፋ የትኛው ነው ላል so that should be B trees. Means that trees are renewable but can be depleted if overused or not properly managed. Question number 60. What is the main difference between renewable and non-renewable resource? ታዳሽና ታዳሽ ያልሆኑ ተፈጥሮ ሀብት ዋናኛው ልዩነታቸው ምንድነው ላል so that should be A. Renewable resource can be replenished naturally while non-renewable resource cannot be replenished quickly. Means that renewable resource replenished naturally over a time while non-renewable resource take millions of years to form. Question number 61. What is the primary cause of natural resource depletion? ተፈጥሮ ሀብት እንዲጠፉ የሚያደርገው ዋናኛው የትኛው ነው ላል so that should be A. Rapid industrialization and urbanization. Means that industrialization and urbanization increase demand for natural resource lead to their excessive use and depletions. Question number 62. Which of the following is conservation mechanism for wildlife? ከሚከተሉት ለዱር እንስሳ የሚደረገው conservation mechanism የሆነው የትኛው ነው ላል so that should be D. National park. Means that establishing national park and protecting area and help conserve wildlife by providing safe habitat and preventing exploitation. Question number 63. Which of the following is an example of conservation mechanism for soil? ከሚከተሉት አፈር እንዳይሸረሸር የምናደርግበት conservation mechanism የሆነው ምሳሌ የሆነው የትኛው ነው ላል so that should be D. Crop rotation and tracing. Means that crop rotation and tracing are effective soil conservation techniques that prevent erosion and maintain fertility. Question number 64. How many national parks has Ethiopia established for wildlife conservation? የዱር እንስሳው ለማንከባከብ ኢትዮጵያ established ያደረገችው national park ስንት ነው ላል so that should be C. 24. Means that Ethiopia has established 24 national parks as a part of its wildlife conservation efforts. Question number 65. What is the difference between national park and wildlife sanctuary? National park and wildlife sanctuary ልዩነታቸው ምንድነው ላል so that should be B. National park are for all wildlife and while sanctuary for specific species. Means that national park protect wildlife and promote tourism while sanctuary focus on conserving specific species. Question number 66. Which of the following is an example of an indigenous plant conservation practice in Ethiopia? Ethiopia ውስጥ አገር ውስጥ conservation practice የምንለው የሚባለው ምሳሌ የሆነው የትኛው ነው ላል so that should be A. Scared groves. Means that scared groves and a place like church and mosque are traditional or indigenous conservation site for plant in Ethiopia. Question number 67. What is the significance of Ethiopia diverse topography and climate for plant species? Ethiopia የተለያዩ ዳይቨርስ የሆኑ ቶፖግራፊ ማኖራና ክላይሜት ማኖሯ ለእጽዋት ስፒሺሶች ያለው ጥቅም ምንድነው ላል so that should be B. It enables the survival of diverse plant. Means that Ethiopia diverse topography and climate support a wide variety of plant species including endemic ones. Question number 68. Which of the following is a modern conservation mechanism for plant in Ethiopia? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ ዘመናዊ ለእጽዋት የሚደረገው ኮንዘርቬሽን ሜካኒዝም የሆነው ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ የትኛው ነው ላል so that should be C. establishing botanical gardens and reserves. Means that botanical gardens, reserves, control invasive species, recover, restore, and preserve genes in bank are modern conservation mechanism to protect plant species. Question number 69. What is the role of traditional farming system in plant conservation? Traditional farming system እጽዋቶችን ኮንሰርቭ ለማድረግ ዋነኛው ስራው ምንድነው ይላል? So that should be to they maintain genetic diversity of plant species. Means that traditional farming system help conserve genetic diversity by using sustainable practice. Question number 70. Which of the following is an endemic plant species in Ethiopia? ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ብርቅዬ የሚባለው እጽዋት species የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be A. African juniper. Means that the African juniper or Juniperus porosira is an endemic plant species found in Ethiopia. Question number 71. What is the main threat to wildlife and plant species caused by human activity? ዋነኛው ትሬት የሚሆነው ለዱር እንስሳና ለእጽዋቶች ስፒሺስ በሰው ልጅ አክቲቪቲ የሚደርሰው ያው የሚመጣው የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be C. Habitat destruction. Means that habitat destruction and deforestation are the major threats to wildlife and plant species caused by human activity. Question number 72. Why is it important to conserve wildlife and plant in Ethiopia? ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ዱር እንስሳና እጽዋቶችን ማንከባከብ ጥቅሙ ምንድነው? ለምን እንከባከባለን ይላል? So that should be B. To maintain ecological balance and biodiversity. Means that conserving wildlife and plant help to conserve biodiversity and maintain ecological balance. Question number 73. What is the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam improperly primarily used for? ዋነኛው የኢትዮጵያ አባይ ግድብ ጥቅሙ ምንድነው ይላል? So that should be B. Hydropower generation. Means that the Ethiopian Grand Renaissance Dam is built on Abay Nile River and is primarily used for hydropower generation. Question number 74. Which of the following is an example of mechanical soil conservation mechanism? ከመካተሉት ውስጥ የመካኒካል soil conservation measure ምሳሌ የሆነው የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be D. Constructing trace and bands. Means that constructing trace, bands, dishes, check dams, micro basin, and hill trees are mechanical measures used to prevent soil erosion. Question number 75. What is the biological measure that was launched in June 2019 with a vision of building green and climate resistant Ethiopia through planting tree? ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ biological measures በ2019 ላንችድ የሆነው ስራ ላይ የዋለው እና እጽዋቶችን በማተከል አገራችን አረንጓዴ አሻራ እናስጨብጣለን ተብሎ የተነሳው ምን ተብሎ ይታወቃል ይላል? So that should be C. Green Legacy Initiative. Means that the Green Legacy Initiative launched in 2019 aims to reduce environmental problems through tree planting. Question number 76. Which of the following is an example of biological conservation measures? ከመካተሉት ውስጥ biological soil conservation measure የሆነው ምሳሌ የሆነው የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be D. Enclosing degraded land. Means that enclosing degraded land from human and animal interfere is a biological measure to protect and restore soil. Question number 77. What is the primary cause of decline in water quantity and quality in Ethiopia? ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ የውሃ ጥራትና ብዛት እንዲወርቅ የሚያደርገው ዋነኛው የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be B. Human activity. Means that human activities such as pollution and deforestation are major primary cause of decline in water quantity and quality in Ethiopia. Question number 78. Which of the following national park covers broadest area than others in hectares? ከሚከተሉት የናሽናል ፓርክ ሆኖ በጣም ሰፊ መሬት የያዘውና በሄክታር ሌሎችን የሚበልጥ የትኛው ናሽናል ፓርክ ነው ይላል so that should be the Gambella National Park means that Gambella National Park covers a broadest area than others in hectare which is about 506,100 hectares. Question number 79. What is one major cause to wildlife mortality in Ethiopia? Ethiopia ውስጥ ዱር እንስሳዎች እንዲሞቱ የሚያደርገው ዋነኛው ምንድነው ይላል so that should be a traffic accident means that the traffic accidents are a significant cause of wildlife mortality in Ethiopia. Question number 80. Which indigenous Ethiopian conservation practice used by Gusa community area of maize in Ethiopia Central Highland that was practiced for over 400 years. Ethiopia ውስጥ indigenous conservation practice በጉሳ community የሚካሄደው ና Central Highland ላይ ለ400 ዓመታት ሲካሄድ የቆየው practice ምን ተብሎ ይታወቃል ይላል so that should be a Kero system means that the Gusa community conservation area is managed under Kero system which governs resource use and conservation. Question number 81. What percentage of wildlife mortality in Garale National Park was caused by a car accident in 2017? ጥራት እንዳሳየው በጋራሌ ናሽናል ፓርክ በካር ጉዳት ወይ ደግሞ ሞት ወዱር እንስሳ ላይ የሚደርሰው ስንት ፐርሰንት ነው ይላል በ2017 የተጠንቶ የተገኘው so that should be 29% means that a study in 2017 found that 29% of wildlife mortality in Garale National Park was due to car accident. Question number 82. What is one method to reduce traffic accident affecting wildlife? ዱር እንስሳዎች የሚጎዱበት በመኪና አደጋዎች ትራፊክ አክሲደንት የምንቀንስበት ዋነኛው ሜተድ ወይ አንደኛው ሜተድ የትኛው ነው ይላል ከመከተሉት so that should be designing structure for safe passage of animals means that designing structure for passage for safe passage for animals and wildlife constructing underpasses to promote habitat connectivity and encourage natural movement and also considering natural wildlife habitat where roads are constructed and driving slowly are the method to reduce traffic accident. Question number 83. What is the role of Ethiopian National Gene Bank? የኢትዮጵያ ናሽናል ጂን ባንክ ወይ ደግሞ ዛር የምናስቀምጥበት ዋነኛው ጥቅሙ ስራው ምንድነው ይላል so that should be D to preserve seed for future use means that the Ethiopian National Gene Bank preserves seed and genetic material for future use as a part of modern conservation practice. Question number 84. Which of the following impact of human activity on environment occurs when harmful toxins build up in organisms often through the food chain? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ በሰው ልጅ አክቲቪቲዎች የሚመጣው ጉዳት environment ላይ የሚመጣውና harmful toxic organisms ውስጥ build ሆነው በፉድ ቼን የሚተላለፍ ምን ተብሎ ይታወቃል ከሚከተሉት ይላል so that should be a toxic bioaccumulation means that toxic bioaccumulation is an impact of human activity on environment occurs when harmful toxins build up in organisms often through the food chain. Question number 85. Which of the following impact of human activity incorrectly matched with its consequence? ከሚከተሉት የሰው ልጅ አክቲቪቲዎች እና እነሱ የሚያመጡ ኮንሲኩዌንስ ጋራ በትክክል ያልተዛመደው የትኛው ነው ይላል so that should be C resource depletion occurs when natural resources are replenished faster ስለዚህ ይሄ በትክክል አልተዛመደም ማለት ነው ትክክል አይደለም ሌሎች ትክክል ነው ማለት ነው ስለዚህ replenished faster ከሆነ resource depletion አይሆንም ማለት ነው means that resource depletion happen when natural resources are consumed faster than they can be replenished. Question number 86. Which of the following occurs when excess nutrients such as fertilizers cause algae to grow extensively and depleting oxygen in water bodies? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ ኤክሰስ ኑትሪየንቶች ከፈርቲላይዘር እና ከተለያዩ ቦታ ወደ ውሃ በማግባት አረም ውሃ ላይ የማያድግ ከሆነ ይሄ ኦክሲጅን ውሃ water body ውስጥ እንዲያጥር የሚያደርግ ከሆነ ይሄ ምን ተብሎ ይታወቃል ይላል so that should be eutrophication means that eutrophication or water enhancement or imboch occurs when excess nutrients such as fertilizers cause algae to grow extensively depleting oxygen in water bodies. Question number 87. Which of the following is a consequence of global warming? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ የዓለም ሙቀት consequence የሆነው ወይ global warming consequence የሆነው የትኛው ነው ይላል so that should be C. Extinction of species and the loss of biodiversity. Means that global warming disrupts ecosystem and leads to extinction of species and the loss of biodiversity. Question number 88. Which of the following is a major greenhouse gas released by human activity? ከሚከተሉት ዋነኛው የግሪንሃውስ ጋስ ውስጥ በሰው አክቲቪቲ የሚመጣው የሚለቀቀው የትኛው ግሪንሃውስ ጋስ ነው ይላል so that should be A. Methane. Means that methane released from human activity like agriculture and waste management is a potent greenhouse gas. Question number 89. What is one effect of ozone layer depleting on humans? Ozone layer የሚሸርሸር ከሆነ ሰው ልጅ ላይ የሚያመጣው ጉዳት የትኛው ነው ይላል so that should be D. Skin cancer and contractitis. Means that ozone layer depletion expose human to harmful ultraviolet rays, increasing the risk of skin cancer and contractitis, and also increase aging of the skin and cause respiratory disease. Question number 90. What is the primary ecological benefit of mixed cropping commonly used in Ethiopia farmers? በኢትዮጵያ ገበሬዎች የሚጠቀሙ ሲስተም እህሎችን በማቀላቀል ማዘር ለኢኮሎጂካል ያለው ቤኔፊት ምንድነው ይላል so that should be A. Preserve soil nutrients. Means that mixing cropping enhance biodiversity, reduce dependency on fertilizers and preserve soil healthy. Question number 91. Which of the following is an external influence on natural variation on climate change? Climate change የአየር ሁኔታ እንዲቀየር የሚያደርገው natural variation external influence የሆነው ከሚከተሉት የትኛው ነው ይላል so that should be B. Volcanic eruption. Means that external influence on climate change include variation in solar system and volcanic activity which can impact global temperature, and also internal fluctuations include exchange of energy, water and carbon between various environmental components. Question number 92. How do poor farming practice contribute to resource depletion? በጣም poor farming practice ተፈጥሮ ሀብት እንዲጠፋ እንዴት አስተዋጽኦ ያደርጋል ይላል so that should be B. By destroying soil structure. Means that poor farming practice degrades soil quality and structure and killing microorganisms depleting natural resources. Question number 93. How do the indigenous conservation practice benefit agriculture? Indigenous የምንለው conservation practice agriculture ጥቅም እንዲሰጠን እንዴት ያደርጋል ይላል so that should be C. By improving soil fertility and reducing erosion. Means that indigenous practice like tracing and crop rotation improve soil fertility, richness and reduce erosion and benefit agriculture. Question number 94. Which Ethiopian community is internationally recognized for indigenous soil and water conservation practice? የኢትዮጵያ community internationally የታወቁ ዩኔስኮ ላይ የተመዘገቡ አፈር እንዳይሸረሸር በማንከባከብ እንደዛውም ውሃ በማንከባከብ የሚታወቁና የትኛው community ናቸው ይላል so that should be Conso people. Means that The Conso people are known for their indigenous practice like tracing, which have been recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage. Question number 95. Which of the following is a major cause of acid rain? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ acid rain acid ያለው ዝናብ እንዲዘንብ የሚያደርገው ዋነኛው የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be burning fossil fuels. Means that burning fossil fuels release sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide, which contribute to the formation of acid rain. Question number 96. Which of the following is a major cause of biodiversity loss? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ በዋናነት biodiversity loss እንዲያደርግ ወይ biodiversity እንዲጠፋ የሚያደርግ የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be A. Habitat destruction and degradation. Means that habitat destruction and degradation eliminate food and living space for species, lead to biodiversity loss. Question number 97. Why do Ethiopia farmers apply surface mulching to their field using plant residue? ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ገበሬዎች አፈር እንዳይሸረሸር የተለያዩ የእጽዋቶች ቅጠል በማጠቀም surface mulching ያደርጋሉ ወይ አፈር ይሸፍናሉ። ይሄ ለምንድን ነው ይላል? So that should be C. conserve soil moisture. Means that surface mulching protects soil moisture, preventing erosion and ensure soil fertility. Question number 98. Which tree is commonly used in agroforestry by Conso people? Conso ሰዎች የሚጠቀሙ agroforestry ውስጥ የትኛው እጽዋት አይነት ነው ይላል? So that should be D. moringa. Means that moringa Petala is widely used in agroforestry by Conso people for its cultural and conservation benefit. Question number 99. How do invasive species affect native species? ከውጭ ሀገር የሚመጡ ስፔሺሶች አገር ውስጥ የሆኑ ስፔሺሶች እንዴት ይጎዳሉ ይላል? So that should be B. They compete with native species for food and habitat. Means that invasive species significantly modify or disrupt ecosystem by colonizing, often outcompeting native species for resources needed by native and causing decline in native population. Question number 100. Which of the following explain how acid rain affect aquatic life? ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ አሲድ ያለው ዝናብ ውሃ ውስጥ የሚኖሩ ነፍሳትን እንደሚጎዳ የሚያሳይ ወይ የሚገልጽ የትኛው ነው ይላል? So that should be A. It alter water chemistry. Means that acid rain change the water pH. Means altering water chemistry, making it toxic for aquatic organisms like fish and amphibians. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget like, subscribe, share, comment Aliyi Census channel. ይህንን ቪዲዮ ስላዳመጣችሁ እጅግ አድርጌ ነው የማመሰግናችሁ። ግን ማርሳት የሌለባችሁ ነገር ምንድነው? ላይክ ሰብስክራይብ ማድረጉ እንዳትረሱ። ላይክ ሰብስክራይብ ካደረጋችሁ እኔ የሚለቁትን ነገር ቶሎ እናንተ ጋር ስለሚደርስ ላይክ ሰብስክራይብ በማድረግ እናንተ ጓደኞችም ቴሌግራም ግሩፕ ላይም ካላችሁ እዛ ላይ ሼር ማድረጉ እንዳትረሱ። ቀጣይ ሌላ ቪዲዮ ይዤ ድረስ መልካም ጊዜ ነው ላችሁ። If you have any question or suggestion or comment, please write under comment. Until I come back with other tutorial video. Good time for you. Thank you. Welcome back again. Thank you. Welcome back again.